Hey guys, so in recent news, my mouse completely broke, so I couldn't really edit recently. So instead of doing that, I decided to do something different and decided to rank every Spider-Man movie in Hype Up for my Spider-Verse video. While getting off track for a little bit. Yeah, this is exactly why I say that I sound very pretentious in this video. But this is different from what I normally do, but I like ranking things, so if you guys enjoy this, hopefully I can do more in the future. I stream this over on Twitch, and not a lot of people really know that I have a Twitch channel, so go check it out if you want. So, hello. This is it's gonna be a little different from usual. This is also going to be for YouTube, so in case you don't catch it, this is gonna be uploaded later. So what I'm gonna do in preparation for my Spider-Verse video to come is that I'm going to be ranking all the Spider-Man movies. I am going to get canceled for this. I like this is going to be the video where people absolutely fucking hate me. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Well, it's all fine. First and foremost, let's just do that. No arguments here. I feel like this is an easy thing, right? This is easy to figure out. Like, you can't not think that this is just one of the best Spider-Man movies. It's still, in my opinion, one of the best Spider-Man stories ever told, and just overall my favorite animated movie. Hell, it's one of my favorite movies, like in general. Like, it, like I went into Spider-Verse absolutely wanting to hate it because I thought that Into the Spider-Verse was just too perfect. I want to save a lot of my thoughts for Across the Spider-Verse for my actual video, but for now, let's also just put it there. This doesn't mean that I believe that Across the Spider-Verse is worse than Into Spider-Verse. This is just tied. Like, imagine this is just tied right now, because honestly, I can't really rank these movies below or above one another because they have the same amount of quality in my opinion, and that's saying a lot. Some things I think that Across Spider-Verse did better than Into Spider-Verse. Some things I felt like it did worse. Some, around the same. Like it's an equal, like it balances out, right? For the time being, until I get my proper thoughts out for the Spider-Verse video that's to come, I rank these two movies in its own league, and they're about the same. Like, they're about the same for me. Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 1 is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. This is the movie where Spider-Man got really fucking popular because of Sam Raimi's The Spider-Man 1. Because it's in, like, theatrical form instead of, like it's a comics. Because, I don't know, me personally, I've always had a problem with reading comics. So I'm a movie guy, I watch movies because it's easier for me to focus on rather than reading comics. But that's just me. That's me personally. And I feel like Spider-Man being adapted into a theatrical version is why a lot of Spider-Man fans are Spider-Man fans, is because of the Raimi trilogy. I can't talk shit about it because one, it's going to get me canceled, which is very ironic for what's about to come up, and two, because like there's not really anything to like hate about. There's like one or two scenes in the actual movie that stands out to me as a Spider-Man movie, but the rest is just a lot of fun. It's a good time overall. I don't really have many like deep thoughts about Spider-Man 1 because I don't think like the intention was for Spider-Man 1 to go very deep with its ideas or its themes being presented. Like, the most they really go for it is Green Goblin like having that dad talk to Peter about why he should continue helping the New Yorkers even though they're going to hate him in the end anyways, because they want to see failure from a hero. Like, that's as far as it goes, and I guess that's like very baseline superhero stuff. I feel like a lot of the stuff the Sam Raimi tried to do for Spider-Man it works for its time, but I don't think it really aged well, But yeah, I really love Spider-Man 1. It's a good movie. I watch it from time to time, and it's okay. I give it a solid A tier. Oh boy, now we're getting into this. Spider-Man 2. So, Here's the thing. I don't think I can accurately talk about this movie anymore. I've done a podcast of this before. I've shared my thoughts with this with Zero before. You can go watch out or the link in the description below for YouTube. And I think that I was being very fair. I think that I was being very fair on what I thought about Spider-Man 2. This video is fucking ass. I'm gonna say it now. This video is very
Everywhere
terrible.
I go, I see his face.
Oh dear God, what the fuck was I doing? Oh my God, what was I like a year ago? This was last year? Jesus, what was wrong with me? Yeah, this video is kind of shit. Do not watch
I'm your favorite
this.
cowboy, and let's get.
Do not watch this. I hate this video for
despite
so
it
many
being
reasons.
a pretty bad scene with a home. Each other are so repetitive and develop nothing with the drama that they're facing.
Yeah,
up until the very end of the movie, their conversations
I am
literally go like this. I don't
starting to
know you
see-
anymore. You just don't understand. Do you love me or
What
not?
was I doing last year?
Non-specific excuse.
Dear God.
Repeat that for 100 minutes and you have every conversation with each other. And it feels so unrewarding that they got together at the end because of this. The entire movie is just them arguing about the same exact thing until MJ.
Okay. I think it's safe to assume that this video is pretty bad, and honestly, this video is repeating a lot of things that other content creators have said because I wasn't sure of what I wanted to do I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, like, as a content creator, so I might have copied a lot of things here and there from content creators, and I didn't really like it.
Spidey is brought
I
back at the
hate a
beginning
lot
the
of my
second
thoughts on
movie.
it. Like a lot of these thoughts that I had in this video has changed. Like when I actually go into the podcast, but just no, don't watch this video. I've been thinking about unlisting this for so long. Honestly, I've thought about deleting like everything up until here. I thought about deleting everything up until this video because I hated a lot of my videos. I hate like half of my content. God, even this one, like this was like the first video where I actually like started to develop where I like started to hint at and start developing my style a little more, but it's bad.
Oh. Even though he was the executive
Yeah, I don't know
producer
what I
of
was
the
doing
show.
in the video.
The
I
most
was very
notable thing wrong about the
misinformed.
directing was the shaky camera. Shaky cam is never a good sign in really
I
any
was
Star Wars
very
content because it
misinformed,
never
and
fits
this was okay. I'm being real. This is the first video where I legitimately will call myself pretentious
the atmosphere
because
and
I try to
environments of Star
sound a
Wars.
lot smarter
So it
than what
works
I
fine
did.
for the Mandalorian. Directing wasn't the Mandalorian, but then you find out that they are two distinctly different shows that have very different tones, accent, set pieces, and atmospheres. So
Yeah, this is exactly why I say that I sound very pretentious in this video. I
it works fine for
sound
the Mandalorian, but that's because it's
so
appealing to a more
fucking bad
Western
in
style
it.
genre
Do not
for Star
watch
Wars.
this shit.
Here, the direction style doesn't work for a more traditional Star Wars adventure genre. This
Yeah, let's get back out of that. Fuck, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Spider-Man 2. This video is bad. Don't listen to this. Listen to what was it? Yeah, this one. This is the podcast where I'd say like has my proper thoughts on Spider-Man 2. This is where like I actually like put time and effort to think about like what I wanted to say about the movie, and I guess Zero being there did help a lot. Make my thoughts a little more clear. So go listen to this. This is a good podcast, and it really does help you guys figure out what my thoughts are on Spider-Man 2. But now I can't accurately talk about this movie anymore because the thing is like the fan base for this movie has hurt my perception on this movie so much that I hate it. I hate it because of the fan base. And you'd think that that's something that shouldn't happen. But when like 90% of the people who like Spider-Man 2 say that it's the perfect superhero movie or the perfect Spider-Man movie or the perfect X ever made, like it becomes annoying. You get a lot of backlash for saying anything bad about Spider-Man 2. And that's the reason why I hate the movie now. Because the fan base has been so toxic towards other opinions. And my opinion is, if you think that this is the best superhero movie, that's fine. That's understandable. You can think that. I personally don't, but you're allowed to think that. But you shouldn't like go out of your way to try and tell people that they're wrong for having a different opinion. I say it as a joke. Like, I legitimately say it as a joke, but there are people who will like legitimately tell me that I am wrong for thinking that Spider-Man 2 isn't as good as everyone thinks it is. I do have good things to say about it. Like, don't get me wrong, I actually like the movie, right? The movie's fine. I just have a lot of problems with the second and third act of the movie. Because I'm not gonna lie, this scene, moi, perfect scene.
Make me sad.
I think that this scene is exactly what this movie needed and shows what this movie should have been about, right?
Peter, all the times we've talked of honesty.
Because the first act was setting up how
fairness,
much Peter
justice.
thinks that
All of those
he's
times
lost
I
that
counted
purpose
on
of being
you
Spider-Man because
to have the
he doesn't
courage
believe that it's
to take those dreams.
a obligation
to the
anymore.
world.
Like, he doesn't want it to be
I can't live
somebody
their dreams
else's
anymore.
mission.
Take my hand, son.
I still love this scene. Like, honestly, this scene is the best scene in the entire movie, and that's saying something. Because there's a lot of good scenes in this movie. I think that Peter trying to tell Uncle Ben that his mission is not Peter's mission anymore is really effective. I think that the direction that they should have gone with Spider-Man 2 is for Spider-Man to realize that he wants to be Spider-Man because he just wants to. He loves being Spider-Man because of not just the thrill of it, but because he likes saving people. Like, that's very evident by the scene where he saves the kid from the burning building when he isn't Spider-Man. Like, he has no powers, but he still goes in there anyways because he legitimately wants to protect people. And you can see that that's the direction that they wanted to go with the movie. But then they just kept giving Peter so much shit. I think that this movie tried to do too much with what Spider-Man is supposed to be. Quote unquote supposed to be, but yeah.
Is anybody in that building? We think there's a kid stuck on the second floor. Hey, where you going?
Yeah, but I think that this scene is great. I think that this scene where Peter saves the kid because he genuinely wants to is good. And it's a good direction for where they wanted to go with this movie. But then this movie just throws away the scene as if it's nothing. In about like 2 seconds.
Some poor soul got trapped on the 4th floor. Never made it out.
In about 3 seconds, the scene is meaningless because somebody else died. I get the idea. I get what they wanted to do with it, but they handled it very terribly. They handled this very terribly because they tried to tell the idea like you can't always save everybody. That message is what throws this movie into a completely different direction than what the previous scene tried to tell. Like, it throws this scene in a completely different direction than what this scene tried to do. This scene tried to started the movie off by saying, your mission is not my mission. And it should have gone where Peter realizes this is not Uncle Ben's mission anymore. This is my mission now. This firefighter has killed the movie. And it's like, it goes so back and forth between what Peter wants, you know, like what the message should be of this movie. Then we get to the Aunt May scene where she gives this whole speech about how we have to give up the things we want most to be that hero for people, right? But then guess what? Peter falls off a building, breaks his back, and then that scene's thrown away again. Absolutely no payoff. God, I really don't like that they kept backpedaling on Peter wanting to be Spider-Man for the sake of misery porn. Like, this is the actual scene where Peter becomes Spider-Man again. This is where I think the movie just ends up turning a turn for the worse for me. With how it's conveying its message behind what Peter wants as Spider-Man. Because here's the thing, he's being put in a situation where he's forced to be Spider-Man again. Like, it's an ultimatum, and it's like, it's a no-brainer. Like, of course, Peter's gonna save MJ, right? But that's the thing, like, it never perfectly conveys that this is what Peter wants. Like, he's doing it to save, like, the love of his life, but doesn't, like, accurately convey that this is his mission rather than the mission of somebody else's. Because, again, Doc Ock gives Peter a choice. Well, actually, no. He's demanding that he grabs Spider-Man. This is all a demand. So really, if you really think about it, this is Doc Ock's mission. Like, I can't even, like, again, my thoughts aren't as clear because I'm improvising a lot of this. I'm not very good at improv. But again, go watch this podcast. This podcast, like, explains my thoughts a lot better. But then that's the other thing I really don't like about this movie. That just breaks the ending. Like, because again, Doc Ock and Harry have a talk, you know? And Harry wants Doc Ock to bring Spider-Man, like, use Peter to get Spider-Man to bring him to the tower so that Harry can kill Spider-Man, right? And then Harry gives Ock the tritium. That's it, right? So let me ask you this. Why the fuck is Mary Jane still there? Like, why is she there? For context, again, Harry said, use Peter to get to Spider-Man so I can give you the tritium, right? So Doc Ock captures Mary Jane so that Spider-Man can be lured out and then brought to Harry, right? So then Doc Ock brings Spider-Man and unconscious Spider-Man to Harry and grabs the tritium. Mission over. Done. So why does he still have Mary Jane? Like, the people who think that this is a perfect movie, explain this to me, because I have to make a statement with this. There was no reason.
For your little science project. Now let me go.
I can't let you go. You'd bring the police. Not that anybody could stop me now that Spider-Man's dead.
What is that explanation? Oh, I can't let you go. You'll call the police, but they can't stop me anyways. What? So I wouldn't be so bothered by this if this didn't happen. I would not be so bothered by Doc Ock still keeping Mary Jane for essentially no reason when his plan's done if this wasn't a thing. Because it feels like they're only doing this to get to this scene where Mary Jane finds out Peter is Spider-Man. And this is what allows Mary Jane to leave fucking John Jameson. But anyways, again, still in this, because I don't like this movie now because of how much the fan base has ruined this movie for me. Fine, don't believe me. Believe the Cabot who actually has. Believe the Cabot who actually has who has proper thoughts.
Spider-Man 2 is overrated, if anything. Like, I give this movie a 7 out of 10, and people think I fucking hate it.
There we go. That's my score. That's the score. That's the score I would have if I actually had proper thoughts, but I can't have those anymore. Because I hate the movie for the fan base. The fan base absolutely, like, ruined this movie for me. So I can't properly talk about this anymore. So this is really the last, like, thing you will ever see me properly talk about Spider-Man 2. Because I'm disappointed by people's reactions when I say that this movie is a 7 out of 10. Because apparently it should be a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It should be the best thing ever, and that's what, like, upsets me about the fan base reaction to other people's opinions. But it's like, again, if you think it's the best thing ever, you're allowed to think that, but don't go bashing on people for thinking otherwise. I just make jokes about it because I get shit for having a different opinion. But yeah, Spider-Man 2, How should I rank this? Why is it 2 Spider-Man 1s? Wait, why is it 2 Spider-Man Far From Homes? What? Whoever made this tier list, I don't think they know what they're doing. Fuck it. Fuck it. Let me just Spider-Man 2. It's in its own category because I can't accurately talk about this movie. Just simple as that. Moving on. Spider-Man Homecoming. I think it's fine. It gets a lot of hate. A lot of the MCU home trilogy does because it tries to do something different. I understand that why people hate it because, you know, the over reliance on all the MCU things, like that's understandable. I think it's a valid criticism. I personally don't mind it because it's not as oversaturated as some people may think. Because even in Homecoming, like you can tell that Peter really doesn't want, like there's a lot of times you can see where Peter doesn't really want Tony's help, and he tries to do things on his own. But then Tony comes in anyways because he has to be the overprotective Avenger over him because he's the only one that actually trusts him with the job. So, but yeah. The thing is, I think it's very surface level Spider-Man stuff. Like I think you're gonna like this movie regardless because it takes like all the things you would normally like about Spider-Man in all in one movie. But like it doesn't really do like too much interesting stuff outside of it. Like I think there's just better Spider-Man stories. You know? I will say though, this scene shocked me in theaters. This scene was fucking insane. This scene.
He must be Peter.
This entire sequence from here to when Peter actually goes to the dance is perfectly done. I think they did the Volta really well in this movie. Like Volta is like one of the only things that like stands out in this movie. Everything else like baseline Spider-Man stuff, like you're gonna like this movie regardless because it hits all the check marks basically. Not to saying that it's fine to hit a check mark, but that's what it ends up doing anyways. Like it's not fine to go off a list, but it just has all the basic stuff that you would like about a Spider-Man movie. It's just like Spider-Man 1. It's a hard movie to hate, basically. Then I think it's just well directed. Like I think it's a well directed movie. You could definitely see the way like how they want to direct the home trilogy, and it shows here. It's above Spider-Man 1. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think the Vault is really what puts this movie over Spider-Man 1 because I do love Green Goblin, but like in terms of like actual writing, not acting, I think they're like in the same ballpark. Far From Home. Again, a lot of my thoughts about what I think about Far From Home is in this podcast, but you know, I think it's pretty much the same. I really do like Far From Home. Ignore this video though. This video is trash. Again, don't watch it. Don't watch any of these videos up to my Sonic video. Like if you're like just now tuning into my channel, start from here. That's it. Just start from here. Pretend like none of these other ones exist. I will let you know though. If you want to watch any of these videos below, just know that I wasn't really understanding what I wanted to do as a content creator. Like this is when I actually like started to figure out what I wanted as a content creator, like what I wanted to do, or like what my style was, I guess. But yeah, start from here. But yeah, it gets a lot of hate, much like Homecoming, but this one's very, very amped up. Like there's a lot more hate for this movie than there is Homecoming, because there's some people that still really love Homecoming, and to some degree, I can understand that. But this movie is where everybody puts it in the F tier. Like so many put this movie below TASM 2. Oh wait, no, I forgot about Spider-Man 3. Shit. I forgot about Spider-Man 3. How did I forget about that? Alright, I'm gonna get this out of the way real quick. Spider-Man 3 is bad. Like, let's put that out there. Spider-Man 3, like, as an actual movie is bad. But it's fun. It's funny. I have an easier time watching Spider-Man 3 than Spider-Man 2 because at least it's fun to watch. Spider-Man 2 just makes me sad. I get to an extent that's supposed to be the point, but I just feel bad for Peter because he gets way too much shit in that movie. But yeah, Spider-Man 3 is fun. Obviously, the writing's bad. Obviously, the movie has like no breaks. And obviously, this movie is all over the place. Peter, I think, is a highlight. I think it's funny. I like Eddie. I like Eddie. Eddie's okay. C tier? Yeah, C tier seems fair. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie in a while. This probably get updated once I actually watch Spider-Man 3 again. If I'm talking like fun factor, this is like all the way up here. But in terms of like how I actually think of the movie, C tier. Yeah, C tier. Okay. I'm going to say this now because a lot of people turn towards this scene and this scene. They look towards these two scenes
Initiating strike.
and say that this is what makes the movie terrible. They take 4 minutes of this movie and say that this is the worst movie. This is the worst Spider-Man movie. Look, I'm not going to pretend like this scene isn't bad. These scenes are pretty bad. I don't like Brad. I really don't. But that does not mean that I find the entire movie terrible, because he's something like in the background for Peter to deal with. It's not like the main focus of the movie. I'm sorry, like I don't look towards like a joke you don't like or a singular scene that you thought was bad and go, yeah, this is the worst thing out. Like this is the worst movie. This movie's bad as a result of these two scenes. Don't focus on anything else. They don't focus on the actual writing of the main focus. They don't focus on any of the themes or direction, whatever. They just look at these two scenes and say, oh, the movie's bad. And that feels disingenuous. Okay. I will say that a common misconception of this movie is that Peter is learning the same lesson that he needs to be his own hero, when that's not necessarily true, right? Because in the first movie, yeah, that's what he needs to find out. He wants to be his own hero. He wants to be someone other than Tony Stark, right? But then we go after Endgame and people think that he basically reset his character arc, when it's more so like a continuation. Like now that he's learned to be his own hero, he has to figure out like what that means. Like, or can he even be his own hero? Like, can he even be the hero that he wants to be and the world will accept him for it? Because the world puts so much pressure on him, Peter thinks that he can't do it because he's never going to live up to these literal legends who saved the world countless times. And he sees all the mistakes he's making and figures out he can't be like Tony Stark. To which Happy says, you're never going to be Iron Man because Tony Stark could barely be Iron Man because he slipped up. He made mistakes, same as what you're doing right now. And I think that the whole message of the movie is Peter learning that he is human. That he needs to accept his humanity, that he's going to make mistakes, he's going to fuck up, but the best part about it is that he learns from it. The same way Iron Man or Tony Stark did, is that he learned from those mistakes, rise to the occasion. He has to learn that he's a human being and he's allowed to be flawed, the same as every superhero that he's put such a pedestal over. I think that is the main focus on Far From Home, and it feels very obvious, but I guess people misunderstand that it's Peter that's reliving his arc from Homecoming when that's not necessarily the case. I don't really like Brad. I don't. He feels kind of forced in there. He feels like a shoehorn. But I mean, that's really like the only thing. Like, Far From Home's just really fun, you know? I feel like that's what this movie needed, is a little bit of slice of life here and there while Peter starts to handle trying to live up to what the world and Fury expects of him. Far From Home, I love. I don't think it's as terrible as what people say it is. And honestly, I don't really have too many problems with it. I don't know. I gotta rewatch it again, but for now, let's put it in, yeah, I love Far From Home. This was my favorite live-action Spider-Man movie before what we're gonna be talking about next, No Way Home. I love No Way Home. Made a whole video about it. Not many people watched it. If you want to go watch it, This is I basically just covered like the fan reaction of this and how people thought that this movie was only existed for the sake of nostalgia bait. When it's like I don't think like people really understand what being nostalgia bait is, where it's just there for eye candy. Like nostalgia bait is where you put in fan service and it exists just for eye candy. That has no purpose in the story or its themes whatsoever. When really the fan service in this movie supports Peter's arc in this movie. It supports Peter's story. Like it supports Tom Holland's story. Like this is still Tom Holland's movie at the end of the day. I will say that as much as I do love this movie, I think that the fan service, like you have to rely on a little bit of fan service. Like you have to have watched the other movies to really understand a lot of the core themes of this movie. So to an extent, I can find that valid criticism. And I still think that there's a little bit of reliance on watching the past movies to get this movie, but a lot of this movie is still doesn't need that fan service. It's just the cherry on top, basically. It's evident by Doctor Strange and Peter's relationship in this, where you basically have two opposing forces of what responsibility is. This is okay. I'm gonna say this now. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Across Spider-Verse. This is basically
Some of these guys are
Miguel
gonna die.
and Miles' confrontation.
It's their
This
fate.
is two sets of responsibility
Come on,
that we are
Strange,
seeing,
have a
and it
heart.
makes sense for both of these characters.
In the grand calculus of the multiverse, their sacrifice means infinitely more than their lives.
Like, this scene proves us how much I really love the dynamic between Strange and Peter in this movie. Because you have Strange, who is responsible for protecting the entire multiverse, basically. Where Peter just wants to save that one person. And that's the opposing senses of responsibility come in. And it really does work well for strengthening Peter's arc in this movie. Of learning what real responsibility is. I will still always point towards the ending where Peter wants to make the spell and Strange goes, no. Like he really does not want this to happen, even though he knows for a fact that this will work. Like he doesn't want this kid to lose every single person he loves in his life because he feels like he needs to. But Peter wants to do it anyways. And it's a really effective scene that does help the movie. And that's why I say that there's a lot of things in this movie that you don't need the fan service on. And I think that if they didn't have all these multiverse shenanigans, you could still have Doctor Strange interact with Peter and the opposing forces of responsibility play in to Peter's story. And it still worked. Like I don't really know. I don't really have like any pitches for how I think this could work without multiverse stuff, but yeah, I really do like Doctor Strange in this. I do like his dynamic with Peter. I think it's really effective. And all the fan service is used to support the movie rather than be what makes the movie, basically. There's questioning about how I feel about the fan service here and there, but as it stands, I think this is better than Far From Home. Okay, now we're going to what the easier stuff, because the easier stuff is the TASM movies, and honestly, the TASM movies, the first one, okay, let's think about the first one, right? Because I haven't really seen the second movie in a while, but I have a good memory of it. But the first Amazing Spider-Man, it has a lot of good things in it. I'm not gonna lie, like I like this movie a lot more than I probably should. I think that it's fine. There's nothing like terrible. Okay, the lizard is terrible. Like the lizard is terrible. I fucking hate the lizard in this. I don't really like Gwen in this movie. I think the romance between Gwen and Peter is a little too much. I don't know, I gotta watch it again, but honestly, The Amazing Spider-Man 1, it's okay. It's not like good, it's not bad, it's fine. I maybe watch it again in the future, but I understand the direction, like they want to go a different direction with this and have Peter go through like a the vigilante, like a true vigilante arc in this movie, where he learns the meaning of responsibility through his actions. I think that works. It went on for a little too long, in my opinion, but it's a good idea. I will say though, I'm gonna say this now. I think that Aunt May in this movie is the best Aunt May we've seen in live action. I'm gonna just say that now. In terms of live action Spider-Man movies, this is the best Aunt May we've gotten. I'm sorry, I can't. I just really love Aunt May in that one. She feels so fucking real, you know? That's another thing. Flash Thompson is also cool. I'm upset that he didn't really show up in the second one, because Flash Thompson is really, really good. Like that scene where Flash Thompson like sends his condolences for Peter losing his uncle is so fucking well done. Oh my god, and the ending where he wears like the Spider-Man shirt. God, I love him. But I think if they actually played more into Flash Thompson in the second movie and saw off his character more, it could have been really good. Like he could have been the best live action Flash Thompson we've seen. You know? Like it could have been one of the best interpretations next to like Spectacular's Flash Thompson. I don't know. But I really do love Flash. I love Aunt May. I love the bridge scene. That's also a really effective scene where he takes off the mask for a kid. It's a little wacky with the fucking crane, the crane scene where all the cranes line up perfectly so that Peter can swing. It's a little wacky. It's a little bit like comic book goofiness. But it's still a good scene. Like there's not too many things like that's outstanding to me. Like when it comes to like the main core of the theme, there's nothing remarkable about it. But it's okay. B. Yeah, B. I think it's fair. Alright, last one. Amazing Spider-Man 2. There was legitimately one good scene in this. There was a singular good scene in this movie, and that's when the little montage is cute. I love it when like you see like a montage of Spider-Man just being that funny neighborhood Spider-Man. He helps the kid out with his science project, does all that, and that comes back in the end where the kid actually tries to stand up to the Rhino. I love that. Like that's so wholesome. That we need more of that in Spider-Man movies where he influences kids to do better, you know? And like he actually helps them out with things. Like that little comic book panel where Spider-Man helps this kid out with their homework. Like it's so good. I want more interaction with Spider-Man and kids. Just give me more Mayday Parker. Across the Spider-Verse always shows how well done Mayday is and how good it is for Peter to have a fucking family and to be happy for once. Other than that, this movie's bad. I'm not going to tell you why this movie's bad because I feel like everybody already knows this movie's bad, but because everything's all over the place, right? I think the potential behind Electro would have been really effective because you could even see like when he meets Electro for the first time, he's not like actively trying to fight this fucker. Like he sees that Electro's in pain, that he's hurting, and even he says like, I know you just need help. You don't really want to hurt anyone. And I think that it would have been effective if we kept that reoccurring thing. But then in the end, he just ends up killing Electro basically. It's like there's no payoff to anything, and a lot of this movie's sequel baiting too for a movie that never happened. That's also like the main reason why this movie like failed, because it was a lot of sequel baiting and I guess setup. But I mean, I guess a lot of Across Spider-Verse, but Across Spider-Verse did that a lot better than TASM 2 because it's a lot of fan service for no fucking reason. Where this actually handles fan service a lot better. But TASM 2 is just bad. The whole plot with Peter's dad goes nowhere. Yeah, this is a flat F. Why'd I have D? Why did I have D in this listing when I knew like fully well that I wasn't gonna be using this? But yeah, that's my ranking of all the Spider-Man movies. If you ask me though, like I always find something good in these movies. Like even Spider-Man 2. There's a couple things I like about this movie. I love the first act. And Harry's like not bad either. I kind of like Harry in this. TASM 2, despite the shit show that it is, has one good scene. That in the suit is great. And it had potential for Electro that if they had better planning, would have worked out well. If they didn't like focus so much on sequel baiting, would have worked out well. If they kind of scrapped the whole idea behind Peter Parker's parents, would have done well, but it didn't. Spider-Man 3 is a lot of fun. TASM, and even TASM 1, there's a couple of things that stand out for me. You know, like AMA, Flash, the bridge scene, the crane scene, you know, all that stuff. Yeah, that's my ranking. I'll probably do some more like this in the future because I like making tier lists. And be on the lookout for my Across the Spider-Verse video coming. I'm going to start editing it tomorrow because that's where my mouse comes in, and we're going to be rolling with that. I'm just a big fan of Spider-Man. I want to talk about Spider-Man more, but I can't really do that because, like, it doesn't help. Like, I don't get many views on it, which is kind of tough to say. Like, I hate saying that I don't make content because of, like, how many views I get, but, like, that's all I have to rely on right now because, like, look at this. I only have, like, 300 subs right now. So I have to rely on a lot of adhering to the algorithm, basically. By this video is when I started realizing like what people actually wanted. And I tried testing that out too with the Super Pets video. And you know what? Y'all like the Super Pets video. So I'm like, okay, let me go back to comic book movies and see what happens. And as you can see, not many people watch these videos. Even though I kind of like this one, I don't know how I feel about. This one I actually really liked. This one I liked, but it didn't get a lot of views because it wasn't focusing on animation and stuff. So I kept doing animation, and you guys loved it even more. So I kind of have to focus my content on solely this, but I want to make more. I want to make more comic book movie stuff because I like Spider-Man. I want to make a video on Guardians 3, but I saved it for a podcast because I knew nobody would really watch it. But yeah, hopefully you guys like this. Maybe I'll do more in the future. Maybe not on comic book movie stuff.Maybe something like Star Wars or other things like that. Maybe something Sonic related since you guys really love my Sonic content for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why any of you come back to see me talk about a 3D little blue hedgehog, but just, yeah. But that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and be sure to like and subscribe, I guess. I'll see y'all later.